Hey everybody, welcome to Volume 84 of the One Piece Virgin Eggheads Book Club podcast, covering chapters 839 to 848. And I've been a little number dyslexic lately, so hopefully I got all that right. I am your captain of the measly crew, Mumkey D. Jones, joined as always by your vice captain, Eggy V. Rodriguez.
That's right, but you could call me Big Papa, still controlling the sun, moon, and the stars, baby, with my overstanding of the mental. Shout out Tyrone.
Come back, Eggy! Without your help, I can't become the king of the podcasts!
Well, I'm known to cook it up, and I ain't gonna get too fast into it, but let's just say we got something extra special on the menu today.
Oh, are we teasing the alcohol segment? Should we go? Is that your top of hat today is what you're about to drink, and we should just jump to it right now?
Oh, you know what? Don't mind if I do, because I decided, I wanted to take it a little bit topical today. So with me and my dearest sous chef, ChatGPT, I have crafted the wedding vow. Whoa, wait on it. I don't know. Who knows if this wedding vow is going to be even getting to be spoken, but it will be consumed by me. We're talking, this is a combination of white chocolate melted to a fine consistency, coffee, heavy whipping cream, lemon juice, orange bitters, and a syrup with 2 doses of the finest clearance rack vodka.
I like the chocolate because pudding's all about the chocolate in Chocolate Town.
It's looking like some hot cocoa in my Moe's Tavern glass, so I don't know how the citrus is going to come in here. White chocolate. Frankly, I'm excited, so let's see if I'm ready to say I do.
I think that sounded really delicious, and I think you might have to make one for me.
Holy shit!
Looks like it.
Wow, the white chocolate is very, it's got the chocolate, but it's got this brightness. The coffee is dark and bitter. The orange bitters are there, but they got a little bit almost like an orange rind kind of thing going on. The lemon, it really works for this kind of brightness. That just exploded in my mouth. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens on the honeymoon.
Oh God, yeah, that's what's gonna happen to pudding. It sounds like.
Wow, no, it's just it's like the coffee. You get this big bitterness. And it's sweet and sour and tangy and citrus, all peppered through. And I don't know, because the coffee's bitter, so it's there's a good amount of coffee in there. I think I might have used about 5 times as much as the recipe called for, but I wasn't trying to just sip on some little something. I need something to sip on, so I didn't increase the vodka anymore. I just increased the coffee quotient, but I kind of kept everything up a little more.
If the drink based on the Sanji pudding wedding vow is the top tier best drink you've had so far, does that mean you are no longer suspicious of pudding like you were last volume? Are you all in on this wedding and this is your one true pairing in One Piece now?
Honestly, I gotta say, yeah. It's not this is even separate. I didn't know what this was gonna be. I didn't do any surprise. I just probably concocted it about maybe 15 minutes ago, sat down. But this thing is on this. Wow, I've never tasted anything like this. It's incredible. It's so full and rich and complex, which I imagine marriage is whenever I get to that point in my life. But
should I leave this Discord call going, get in my car, drive to your house, and then we'll do the rest of the podcast with just you and me and your little box and my room's empty? So I can try the drink, of course.
I could save some for you if you're so inclined. I mean, I'm telling you, this should blow your mind.
How many more episodes of this do we have until we catch up? 40 more volumes? One of these episodes, I've got to just drive to your house in the middle of the podcast. That's a gag we've been teasing for years now. So maybe a drink will be so good that I can't resist coming. But, based on Eggy's reaction, I thought he might have came, to be quite honest.
Yeah,
so I guess
blowing.
If we're going to
get this, you guys do it. Drink it up.
So to transition smoothly into what we were discussing with pudding, and maybe this is top of mind, top of hat area here. We get a lot of pudding developments here. She still loves Sanji despite seeing his horrible, broken, mangled face, which is very touching to a man like me. But then most of all, what's your take on the very ending, the cliffhanger of the volume? Pudding visits Nami and Luffy in their book prison, which we all know libraries are prisons. Don't make children go to the library, folks. So boring. They don't even have One Piece on the shelves most of the time. And she whispers something to them, and they have a very stark, disturbed, sad, pained reaction to it. And then she says, my presence here is causing pain to everyone, so don't worry. I'm not going to marry him. Listen close. And then she's smiling and crying as she waves goodbye. What's your take on all this, Eggy? What is happening?
You know, I'm at a point in my life. I think it's really was meant to be that we reach this volume at this time in my life because typically, most of the time I've spent the majority of my life just laying in bed eating fistfuls of cold Chef Boyardee ravioli and not ever having any feelings except when I see like flashbacks for like Law or Sanji on the island or whatever or
Chow Chow the
Ace.
dog.
Yeah. The animals and men who I can relate to in my youth. That's what I can feel for. That's what pulls on the heartstrings for me. Yeah, that's where I can see myself. But there's something about this whole situation, Sanji's devotion, how ready to fully go for this he is. He's ready to take everything else out of the picture. This will be his life. This has been his destiny
She is
throughout
his salvation in hell.
yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, 13 years of paradise back to hell, but she'll be a salvation. And so for her to come separately from him and seemingly just decide to choose to go against her own mother at the possible risk of her own life, perhaps, or maybe to take a page from her sister and try to run away to get away from the whole situation. I mean, absolutely heartbreaking for sure. I mean, if it is what it seems, especially like to put yourself in Sanji's shoes, we get so much of his backstory here with his siblings and his family and his insecurities and his shortcomings and the pain and how we almost feel like we as the reader are about to nestle uh, our miserable heads in Pudding's pillowy breasts and say, you know what, I'm ready to just begin this new chapter of my life, give myself fully to this matrimony and leave everything behind for this. And to say, for her to say this and to motion this way and even to the reaction from Sanji and I'm sorry, the reaction from Luffy and Nami, that's so incredibly just absolutely heartbroken and shocked and angry. I think the final action caption being "Doom" is all too on the money, indeed.
So, in terms of a runaway bride, a suicidal bride, a secret third option, what's the doom here, Aggie?
Well, I mean, it's a doom to the future of their love as much as anything. I mean, obviously, she's gonna. And if he's ready to put himself in that position, whatever she's going to do, that's putting herself in a position to where she's going to induce harm from her choice, is then also going to have a negative impact and cause Sanji some amount of pain. I mean, they haven't known each other a long time, but he's when you make that choice as a man, when you're ready, when you start severing those mental ties, when you're ready to do the things that Sanji does in this volume in order to ensure a complete separation from your past self, that is devotion. That is a sign of absolute commitment. And that is the entangling and the becoming of one even before the marriage between him intertwining his fate with the fate of Pudding even before the matrimony, and for her to basically then say she can understand what he's gone through and why she has a negative feeling about it, but all the same, he's done what he's done. This isn't something he's ruminating on. Oh, it hurts me that I'm gonna have to make this choice. The choice was made. So the pain, it's cut and dry at this point. They could pick the pieces back up, but it's gonna cause more pain this way. I feel like. I mean, obviously, as a One Piece fan, I want everybody to be together and to continue adventuring and to live out all their hopes and dreams. But on a realistic sort of immersing myself in the material, relationship, family dynamics at play. It's like I'm kind of ready to be there, and now everything I've sacrificed for is about to be sacrificed, possibly. So that to me is where the doom comes in. But either way, whether it's runaway or insubordination to her mother.
You don't read it as suicide, even though I guess it is saying no to Big Mom is a form of suicide anyway, even if she's not putting a knife to her own throat.
Right, and the fact how we get in the material here that when Big Mom is made aware that Lola is still alive, she's like, "Oh, let's go kill her immediately."
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Fuck.
even runaway, you got Emperor on your behind coming at you.
Now I need something explained to me, Mr. Oda, sir. We have it explained here in this volume. Big Mom's Viva card, nobody's allowed to have that. Not even her children. It's strictly forbidden. Now, my first question is, okay, then why does she even have one? Who gets the pieces? The whole purpose is to give them to people so they could find you. How did Lola get this Viva card? And how is this woman brain dead? Like, did spending time in a pig corpse scramble her brains? She gave that Viva card to Nami thinking, oh yeah, my mom, go find her in the new world. She's a great pirate. Maybe she'll help you out. This bitch is fucking crazy, dude. Big Mom, Lola, Big Mom wants you dead. You think she's a great woman who can help out your new friend? She wants to murder you, literally you. How do you have a Viva card, first of all? Why do you think Big Mom's a good person? Have you met your own mother? What, was she different before you left home? Did she recently become senile and crazy and start killing your own fucking children? Is this new? I don't fucking think so.
Yeah, when you have all the eldest children of her being just completely psychotic murderers and bloodthirsty and totally serving the empire, the whole concept of that, the marriages are political in nature, and as happy as she is that it's happening, it's still, very open and just saying, hey, this is purely strategical because I want things from you, and here now we have to start, almost like it's like Judge and Big Mom are getting married in a way, like our families are now connected. We're now at each other's beck and call in a way that we have to negotiate and moderate things that we would normally otherwise not.
And the reason why Big Mom is so angry at Lola is because of the failed political marriage that she says here. If Lola had done what I'd said and gotten married, I'd already have destroyed Kaido, red hair Shanks, and even Whitebeard by this point. I'd already be king of the pirates. Now, I'm going to have to do a lot of thinking on this one. How could one political marriage make her powerful enough to defeat Kaido, who in a 1v1 always bet on Kaido? The narrator told us that. Shanks, who's like the main character's hero, I don't know if Shanks is going to be easily defeated. Who is there anybody we could think of that would have given Big Mom this power through a marriage?
Well, it must have sucked for whoever that guy was going to be, because I think probably any guy with that kind of strength is probably pretty Chadley, if you will, and Lola, with all due respect. I mean, she ain't no Nico Robin or Nami as far as on the good looking scale, as far as I can tell. With all due respect, of course, I'm sure she's got a real great personality or something. A Navy leader, perhaps. Gold Roger, maybe. She said, oh, wait, he's dying? I don't want to marry some old guy who's dying. I'm going to run away. I want Chad instead. No!
Well, that was 22 some odd years ago. I don't know how old Lola would have to be. Yeah. But, hey, earlier in that very same chapter, I believe she's Big Mom's talking to somebody. I didn't write down who she was talking to. Somebody in Sanji's family, maybe Judge himself. But they ask her, hey, you got all these different races here in your melting pot paradise. How come you ain't got any giants? I ain't seen any giants around here. And Big Mom has a face of distress.
Wait a minute. Lola was going to marry Lars. That's right. Maybe.
Ors,
I mean, yeah.
Hey, that's an idea. Marry some great powerful giant. But is there even a giant? We've seen Dory and Brogy, okay? They were defeated by Mr. 3, fucking Wax Man, dog shit character that Luffy killed with a punch. Is there really a giant 1 billion times stronger than them that would grant them access to kill Shanks? Really? I mean, didn't Oars get kind of defeated by the Straw Hats?
True, but maybe
I guess Oris Jr. or whatever, but no, that was Oris, and then Oris
Yeah.
Jr. was killed at Marineford, of course.
So just like Clint Eastwood, the son's never quite the same as the dad. It is what it is. I mean, I don't know. Or he's probably the largest, strongest guy I guess I could think of. But I mean, he's still, mm, yeah, I don't know. Maybe with his original brain instead of the Luffy brain, maybe he had a little more know-how, perhaps.
Hmm.
I mean,
But
I
maybe he
guess
died a long time ago as well.
that's true. True. Uh,
But maybe it is some giant that
Goku.
we just don't know about yet.
So
Because
Goku, he
what
could turn giant. He's not exactly a giant, but he's powerful. He's got rank.
and Big Mom, that's her whole thing anyway, right? Is I want Caesar to make everybody a giant so they could be my size and whatnot.
And maybe if she had married into a Navy personnel, maybe that the tactical advantage of having an inside on the Navy perhaps could have had some sort of benefit to her becoming maybe they would have all been together to take down some of the emperors and install her in a diplomatic sense as a king of the pirates.
Maybe the Navy has intel on where all the road poneglyphs are, and then that's how you become
Mm-hmm.
Pirate King, is if you get all four of them. And she already has this one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you done your top of mind yet? I think we did a bunch of hats.
Well, I'm gonna say the Sanji flashback here, in particular, the aspect of Judge. He has these children. He wanted to use the power of science to enhance them, and so he did. He basically genetically enhanced them through scientific means, so that they would, as when they were born, they would develop into something more than human. Well, as a wise man once said in his car smoking a cigarette, you might call Sanji perhaps a genetically inferior male because he, in fact, even with the supercharged enhancements of his genius, powerful, kingdom ruling father, did not become anything more than just a human, allegedly, as far as they could tell. And so he was, I think maybe I might have touched on this a little bit last time, but just to get that extra context, he's trounced and completely mistreated by his family. He's a total shame. I think we got into the that much of it in the previous volume, but just the fact that he then, part of his culinary interests formed from this sort of imprisonment and torture that he was subjected to for being considered to be too unworthy of his own family. And I said brutal, and therefore, all things considered, there's a lot going on here. But that whole premise, maybe for anybody out there that might have, grown up as an autistic man, and maybe it was a little bit of the sore thumb out in situations, kind of relatable moments a little bit as far as at least the idea, the energy. Maybe not so much torture, but it's a torture on the inside, and
Well,
occasionally the.
Eggy, I didn't want to, blow up your spot here, but you were telling me as a kid your family put an iron mask on you so you couldn't eat, and then they locked you in a dungeon and told everybody you died. So I thought you would relate to this flashback quite a bit.
Well, that's how it started, but unfortunately, we live in this tyranny where you have to go to school and you have
Hmm.
to have a birth certificate and all this stuff. So, because of the tyrannical nature of the United States government, I was forced out into the world. That's the real reason why I was actually born in Wisconsin, but then had to move to Minnesota because they found the tunnels I was living in over there when they were doing renovations, and then we became good, God-fearing Minnesota Democrats. That's
When
right.
Eggy was a baby, his head was actually shaped like a square, but the iron cage they put him in was round and oval. They fucked him up like when Stewie was jumping on the bed in Family Guy. Speaking of which, did you make the connection here? Young Sanji, forced to wear this iron mask. Homeboy Duval, who looks exactly like Sanji, wears an iron mask to hide his face. What's the deal with that? Just being cute?
It was very interesting because Duval, he ended up just being handsome Sanji. So it's kind of funny that you have the Sanji whose genetic quality was tested by his genius scientific eugenicist father, determined to not even be to his liking, to his specifications. He gets masked up. and then Duval, who's actually a supermodel, he's masked up. Maybe there is a statement here to say that, it's no matter what we have under that mask, it's our circumstances which bind us more than the material, maybe even. It's prerequisite or something.
And in a way, aren't we all wearing a mask all the time, forced onto us by those in power? Duval had to wear a mask because society wanted to hunt him for something he didn't do wrong.
Exactly. One of my favorite songs is by a Minecraft YouTuber called Dream. I wear a mask with a smile for hours. There's a music video that has Son of the Mask footage in it. Real
Good.
classic. I've been playing that on streams ever since that song came out. We did some karaoke of it even recently, and it's basically it's a forever classic. It's a real true social reject anthem.
So what does this say of Sanji here? If he did not get the genetic enhancements his brothers and I guess sister got, but then through I guess his own manly training and passions, he's now as strong as them, if not much stronger. Even with their enhancements, he's fucking beating the shit out of his number 4 brother, whatever that one was named. I mean, he had to hammer his chin back into place. Yeah.
I once again, I it's not exactly my most poignant part of my top of mind, but it does still fit into it too, because it's sort of like, yeah, the idea that we all desire this sort of ideal of perfection that really is just not possible, and really you can become more tenacious, and you can become more resilient, more resourceful, more wise and quick-witted to have to kind of play with less than a full deck. Obviously, there's some other things that could come into play there, but just speaking from my own experience, which is my prominent, well to draw from, and that's basically been my entire life. They said I was a vegetable. I was in special education. They said I had like a 60 IQ, and then I was going to be like wheeled around by handlers until I died. They said I'd never have a job or be able to do anything, bathe, clothe myself, feed myself, anything. That's what they told me.
They did not say that about you, Eggy. Come on. How bad could you have been that they would say that about you?
I don't know. I think maybe it's more to do with the fact that society has just kind of lowered itself to my level. That,
yes,
maybe
I think so.
But yeah,
you seem like a standard, if not above average, functional human being in my estimate.
Well, I don't want to make this all about me necessarily, but there's a little bit of that's why I kind of felt strongly about the Sanji thing. But I got posted again to a popular channel recently in the last few days about one of my old videos, and people are like, wow, in 2015 this guy was like the ugliest guy on the internet, it was like a horror freak show, and that's the whole reason why he got notorious to begin with, and now like looking back it just looks completely normal.
I never thought you were hideously ugly in the first place, but I'm not a woman, so my perspective doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah, I think the autism played a role too. I think we could all be honest a little bit maybe, but in any case, I was trying to get, back in those days, I was trying to get welfare because they said I was going to be living in a group home, so I could get SSI and welfare and all that stuff. And I was like, awesome. And then they're like, well,
hell yeah.
Actually, I can't remember what her name was. She was a little old lady. She was my case worker, and she was like, actually, I think, could you do 1 + 1 in simple math?
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
yeah, I'm not. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not that stupid that you think that I am. And she's like, okay, well, I'm going to say you're ineligible for SSI. We're going to get you a cashier job instead.
You failed the test, Eggy. You were supposed to play dumb.
But, that's true. I didn't know. But here we go, because this is kind of relative, though, because, yeah, if Sanji had just been like, oh, I'm a pitiful freak and I'm a pitiful monster, let me sit in my cage forever until I die, then that's the route I could have been on. I could have been that 25-year-old that didn't go outside for 10 years and was, 800 pounds and like this horrible beast that could never be seen by people. They'd be like feeding me through a slot, just like Sanji.
Yes.
But, my caseworker, she decided to flip that switch and say, no welfare for you, as much as I wanted it, because I could sit and just lay in bed all day.
That was your right
to go out. Just like in the Welcome to NHK, also with that one guy in the MMO, I was forced to go out and work for my cheese-filled breadsticks from Quick Star that I was very fond of. I had to make my money and my Doritos. And well, here we are today. Everything that happened from that choice that she made to disavow me from welfare led to everything that led to me being here at this moment in this home recording this podcast.
At 2 a.m. last night, I was starving, so hungry, didn't have any hot food in the house, so I thought, is Quick Star going to have anything left on the hot food tray? I go to look, and the only food left is those cheesy breadsticks, and I thought, nah, I'll just starve, and I just left.
You get those with the smoky sauce. That's busting for real, for real.
It was probably sitting there for 4 hours at that point. I just like, I wanted
Extra
some
crunchy.
real fucking food. I'd rather just be hungry.
Not a sponsor, but if you get their app, you could like plug it in and make them like start making a sandwich that you can get it when you get
Even
there.
at 2 a.m., they'll do that.
They should. It's 24 hours. They'll do breakfast any hour of the day. But that's the thing is that they'll have certain things on the food lamp or whatever when it's the certain hours, but they'll make it at any time.
Fuck, man. I should have just started requesting them to make me some shit. I always just hope I get
Yeah.
lucky that something good is out. Didn't
You can
even
do that
think.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you do it on the phone, then you don't have to sit there and wait for 10 minutes or whatever. But as a man who worked there for years, I can confirm it's all true.
Back to Sanji defeating his technically enhanced siblings here. I think it comes down to speciality because they're increasing their stats in every single way artificially. Sanji, he put every single combat stat into feet, into kicking. He's not even punching these dudes, just feet, and he's defeating his brother. So if your foot stat is 10 billion, doesn't matter if everybody else is, you can still break them. And Eggy, I think you specialize in a few things, and you were able to even all these Ubermensch out there who have been bred genetically from birth. You're better at them in a lot of ways, just because you specialize in kicking.
It's true. One day I woke up and I said I want to try going live. I didn't have any clue about what I was doing, but through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of consistently doing it, I went from a mumbling, flubbling autist to a slightly more well-spoken and, multitasking capable autist, but in an entertaining and, nobody has any idea. Now, you get me in front of a chessboard or like a hard word puzzle, it's over with, any type of like slightly difficult construction project, putting something, I could build a computer, but certain things they will show my flaw, but what I've worked on and the way that Sanji's kicked, you know what? I operate at a level that I think is certainly above average. Yeah, so I feel good about that. Yeah, and so does Sanji as he delivers the foot of justice into the face of his smarmy, smug, freakish siblings.
After the time skip, Sanji's character ranking plummets for most people because he's just way too horny after spending time on Transgender Island. And then Whole Cake Island, this is the arc that not only fixes Sanji and brings him back up to the pre-time skip Sanji we loved, but gives him a whole second backstory, something that no other Straw Hat has gotten that as far as I know of, other than like maybe Luffy if he had multiple, I guess, if chapter 1 counts as a fucking flashback.
Right.
Which I don't think it does. So is Sanji, just from this volume perhaps alone, is he your new literally me in the Straw Hats? Has he risen the ranks?
I gotta say, I can't deny it. It's just too. It was way too close to home in many ways. I've always been a bit of a softie. I've always been a bit of a romantic person, even though that I'm known for being cold. In the real true honestness of it, I've actually always been a bit of a romantic myself. So I saw that. I love eating. I love cooking. There's that. My legs, I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. Historically speaking, people have said that I had more of a leg-based physique because I used to run track and field. It was like the one sport I decided to do because I didn't have very good motor skills being autistic, but I could run though. So I did track and field. So I had stronger, more muscular legs than basically every other part of myself. So there's that. And then this sort of, coming up short to society's expectations, kind of being swept under the rug, being reviled a little bit, but, overcoming and, showing that you got something that the world could see, that you got something to show the world, and that you could truly love and you could truly sacrifice. I'm feeling it. Oh, my goodness, I'm feeling it.
son of literally Hitler. So many connections. Is the
So
Nazi
true.
imagery getting a little on the nose here when we see the Great Hall with the giant like eagle statue and the 6 6s with a lightning bolt going through them? Like, oh my
Yeah,
god!
yeah, the skulls with lightning bolts. I mean, I don't know if you could get any more like. Yeah, I think it's about as close as you could get without getting back to Whitebeard's crew, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, Judge is pissed that Whitebeard ripped off his flag. Did we learn that Judge was dear friends with Vegapunk, or at the very least worked with him in the past? So this world's greatest scientist working with the Nazis here. Is this ringing any historical bells?
Dr. Vegapunk, I mean, I heard that he didn't he have some rockets, maybe they're going to the moon. Where's Baltimore at again? Is that I mean,
Is that the cold place where Frankie landed?
the cold place, where maybe there's an ice wall where maybe they could tunnel to the center of the planet. Maybe there was some other scientists from the Vinsmoke family that had to flee and had to go hide under this in this Arctic environment where now no citizens are allowed to travel, and if you show up and try to start live streaming, they're gonna immediately shut you down. Who could really say?
Oda might be tapped in more than I even considered. And this is going beyond even my knowledge now. I mean, the history is just repeating itself so much. Uh, so we have a pretty dark scene at this family dinner where these brothers are as opposite of Sanji as you could possibly be in a single motion of I'm going to waste food by throwing it at the server woman. So harming a lady and wasting food, those are no-goes for Sanji. So just as on the nose, I guess, or as extreme of opposite of Sanji as you could possibly be. And then Sanji just gets more fucked than ever before, and he can't even really fight back. He's just getting beaten down like a child again.
Yeah, it's maybe it goes to speak of what it could be like to be somebody who is, yeah, given, because this is like beyond just your average, like, royalty privilege, which they kind of allude to, with the royalty and everything like that. But they operate on this level. They're completely and totally superior to everybody else, and have like no, they don't,
They literally don't have
don't fraternize,
emotions.
right? So
Like,
yeah,
like
just
the emotions of pity, sympathy, or sadness, just they literally do not have them
yeah, like
as
beating a
these
woman
eugetic.
damn near to death just because he showed her any kind of human anything
Yeah,
because
he was eating her food off the floor and complimenting how
yeah.
delicious it was. Which is that did that not happen in the Brati arc?
I seem to recall, yes, that
Something like that happened.
well, I know that having
Was
just
it
rewatched
Luffy or Jin or somebody? Did somebody? I don't remember.
the live action, so it's probably not quite accurate, but I know so I guess that wouldn't be about Sanji, but I think
I know what I'm thinking of. It was Zoro eating the rice balls when he was tied up.
yeah.
So not even a Sanji connection. Wow, that's Zoro and Sanji. They have the same eat dirty food off the floor spirit, even though they hate each other.
That's right. Waste not, want nots. That's absolutely correct and true. And
Uh,
I think that being too, I don't know if there's any kind of connection there, but it's like I guess if you the way that he was raised with such extreme negligence and such deprivation that maybe that also plays into him, never to waste anything because all he ever knew at those times was to have nothing.
and then especially starving on an island for 70 days with no food, or I guess with a pitiful amount of food, you learn to respect even the scraps when you're starving to death. Although not
So
me,
true.
I won't even eat cheesy bread at Quick Star if I'm starving. I got too many standards over here.
Nothing wrong with that, It's what keeps you. I'm trying to keep my mind in that type of way. I don't know. I'm finding a balance, but like I think I said this another time too. I was watching all these British shows with my girlfriend, and now they're also regal and everything like that. So I've been trying to like I've been trying to clue myself in. I come from the garbage eating mindset. I was eating garbage into my 20s even for many years because hey, it's there, it's free, and it's only maybe poisonous. I mean, it sounds good to me.
Now, when you say
So I'm trying
you mean
to.
literal garbage when you say this, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you prefer it to not have touched all the other garbage. If
Right.
you got to dig in, if you could like get something of a barrier on it, whether it's the packaging or it's not touching any like raw meat juices or stuff like that. That's the best way to get your edible garbage. But
When I go to
um,
Dollar General or Dollar whatever, what Dollar Tree down the street, there's always a guy digging in the dumpster pulling out, I guess, expired food that they threw out. So, hey, free food. I don't see why not. I'm the idiot who goes into the store and pays for this shit. It's probably expired anyway.
hey, well, uh, but I'm not sure if I remember my train of thought here. But in any case, standards, yes. So I've been trying to get into the royal mindset a little bit because I think it's good. It might be good for you to kind of, at least for somebody like me, to carry yourself a little bit higher and maybe treat your life a little more dignified and stop eating out of garbage cans. So, in my 30s, I'm working on it.
You can make progress at any age, folks. Never give up.
That's right.
We find out why maybe Judge is willing to let his men sacrifice their lives for a cheap shot in a fight against Sanji. It's because they're all fucking clones, and you can grow a 20-year-old clone in 5 years. Big sci-fi reveal in the world of One Piece: cloning is real, Eggy.
Yeah, that's. I mean, kind of blew my mind because I'm like, okay, well, this whole thing we just had was, the for Kaido to get these devil fruits, and I thought maybe that was, you know, I guess these could be synergistic, but I'm thinking we're doing all that because we need to embolden the troops that could possibly be as much to the fullest extent. Basically, like taking every like 1 star or 2 star character and maxing out their stats essentially, like to put it into gaming terms, like a low grade character and maxing out whatever their natural potential is, max EVs maybe if you will. Whereas now it's like, okay, by the way, we could just get these perfectly capable soldiers and just basically just like print them out like a printing press. So maybe there could be synergy there with the smile fruits, but it also seems like, yeah, this seems like maybe what I would prefer to have. Like you always know what you're working with. You got like a nice baseline of abilities, but we don't have to just like pull random animals and whatever people out of the jungle and feed them smile fruits to make them a soldier.
At the end of the day, though, aren't they just going to be fodder characters, though? Like, if you're reading a battle manga and they're making a bunch of clones that all have the same face, I imagine even Usopp could probably take these bad boys out with like a piranha plant. So it would be nice if they gave them all these smile fruits so they could actually have some real power behind them.
Yeah,
Does this imply that other types of characters could also be cloned or even have clones already, or is it probably just these Ubermensch guys?
well, I mean, they said he worked with Vegapunk. We know that Vegapunk has had his Reconquistas, or what were they called again? Baristas? Eriquistas?
The pacifistas.
Oh, yeah, pacifistas. So, I mean, those in essence are a constructed and duplicated uh, being
Kuma.
of war in their own way. So maybe he might have got clued into something from Vegapunk. If we get some more information on Vegapunk here in the future, maybe there's more to find in that direction, I could say.
This is a good opportunity to plug the bonus episode we recorded yesterday reviewing One Piece Movie 5 with E-Rich. And we discovered that E-Rich is a fake One Piece fan through and through because I was like, hey, we're about to go record. I accidentally said volume 74. Of course, I meant volume 84. And I said, hey, E-Rich, you might remember what happens in this volume. It has a chapter called Luffy versus Sanji. And E-Rich, no joke, did not remember that this happened. As an anime-only watcher, this is the level of brain power that anime-onlys are putting into this series. He did not remember Luffy and Sanji fought at all. He said, oh, that was years ago. How could there's an entire arc about it. Like, it has a lasting impact on the story. sick piece of shit. So, reading is an active thing for your brain. Watching TV is passive. Okay, you're fucking scrolling your phone and falling asleep. Don't pretend you're actually engaging with the story, you anime only freaks.
Here,
Don't
let me tell
pretend.
you this. It's harder and harder these days, but I just want to, when I think about this, there's a great way to, if you want to watch an anime, if you want to be anime only and you want to keep your attention, load it on to one of these, a portable 1 terabyte SSD. Load this up. I could probably fit all One Piece on this damn near. I think it's only several hundred gigabytes. And you take it on like a laptop and you go somewhere like up in the Northwoods where there's no cell service at all, and the only entertainment you can only have is to watch the anime, and it will help retain your attention. You don't get phone service, nothing. You guys sit there and watch all the episodes. This maybe it's like $100 or something. I bought it a long time ago and it was like 100 then, so it's probably like 50 now. Load it up and you will sit there and you will soak it up. Go take a vacation. Go take a One Piece vacation and just go watch One Piece on your laptop.
Can we do this
That's
with
my life
Hans
advice.
to make Hans watch Eddington?
Well, the way that this the global infrastructure is going, he might not have electricity or cell service the way that this war is going on.
Well,
so
yeah,
figure
I
it
mean,
out for
in
you.
which case, I don't know if people can take vacations to go watch anime.
So true. Well, we're all very hopeful and optimistic about those sorts of things, just like we're optimistic about the future marriage of Pudding and Sanji. You know,
But
we
hey,
don't
no, I
have
gotta go. I gotta
any-
go back to my plug because speaking of this bonus episode, movie 5, what ringed in my head or made the connection as when you mentioned Vegapunk, because we were discussing also in that episode that the One Piece live action season 2 came out.
Yes.
And they hadn't watched it yet, so I was just talking a little bit about it, and I mentioned, oh, there's something in there that is a spoiler for future events that they love to plug into this Netflix show. And the spoiler that they mention is something that I say on this show all the time that Eggy has no clue what I'm talking about. It just flies over his head as it should. And now once he hears it in this Netflix show, he might make a connection or two. And I was like, fuck it, damn it. And I was telling all this to them. And Eggy's trying to figure out what this secret code phrase I use all the time must be. And he's like, what? Does like Vegapunk have something wrong with the top of his mind or something? and me and Evers didn't even catch it. He probably doesn't even know what the fuck is going on. But I was like, is Vegapunk missing the top of his mind? Good question. That really cracked me up. So all sorts of goodies in that bonus episode. Go check it out. Eggy, what were you saying?
Well, all I know is I don't want to spoil season 2 of the, but at least it won't be a spoiler for anybody on this show. But Bartholomew, instead of Dressrosa, he's there at Logtown, and he like is in that. So that's the only episode I've watched so far. I watched that last night. I got more to watch, but I've also been.
Which I mean, that is canon. You know, if Oda would have thought of it back then, he probably would have included Barto there.
Right.
I mean, we see a
It did make
flashback of
sense.
Barto watching it
But
happen.
also, I just remember he's like in the background for a second there, like before he like runs into Nami, and they have a little like thief on thief exchange. But I was like, God, that guy looks a lot like Bartholomew, and then all of a sudden he's like up in the mix. But yeah, it all ends up making sense and fits as how it's supposed to in the future. So I don't know if he'll continue being in live action or not. But in any case,
I guess
it
that
all worked
implies
out.
Barto did not yet have his devil fruit power, because Barrier would have stopped Buggy pretty damn good right there.
Mm-hmm. I thought also that myself. Yes.
Anyway, back to the volume.
Mhm.
So Vegapunk discovered bloodline elements, which I think is Oda's version of DNA. I think that would make sense. And yeah, they cloned all the genetically superior soldiers. So a bit of a eugenics going on here, minus the cats, huh? What's Edmund trying to say here? Is a big One Piece fan?
I wouldn't be surprised if I played the game more than 20 minutes if there was such a if there was some One Piece-esque references up in the mix there. I know that maybe I'll give it a little bit more of a try here in the near future, but I can find out if that's true or not.
In the flashbacks, child Sanji is making disgusting bento boxes for his sick mother, but she claims to really love the food. Is that motherly love? Is she faking it, or because she loves him so much, it actually does taste good to her tongue, Eggy?
I kind of felt like the way that I read it, because there wasn't anything like obviously tongue in cheek like it's good or she just seems to be forwardly out in front saying that it's good, and we know that he's a talented chef and he has been as far as we know. I mean, I can't. I've watched the live action more recently than I've reread the Barati thing, but like in the live action, Zeph comes in, Sanji's cowering as a child, and he tastes the food that Sanji was cooking, and he's like, "Oh, it's not half bad." So going off that being my most recent recollection of those events, that would probably say that he had some culinary ability at that age, and maybe he knew how to
Well,
give it some seasoning or something. I don't know.
I will say this is something that they also spoil in the Netflix. In the finale episode of season 2, they're like hanging out in the castle while Nami's
Mhm.
sick, the Kuriha whole situation. And Sanji
Right.
tells Nami the story. Yeah, when I was a kid, I would make food for my mother, and it was horrible, just fish heads floating in with garbage. But
What?
so he spoils this fucking flashback in the Netflix, and he admits that the food was garbage. So I think it's a mother's love coming through.
Well, that was very
Much like me, they can't resist spoiling. Okay, what if in season 3 the opening line is, "I can't believe Shamrock and Gunko landed on that giant branch"? Yeah,
real true fans. I mean, listen, we got eyes and ears everywhere, just like Buggy said. In also, I don't know. We just marathoned like in the last week the entire season 1, so that's just what's so fresh in my mind right now. That was a real top of mind unintentionally. So it is what it is.
Any thoughts on that you want to get out of your brain right now?
Well, I don't know. It's because we watched most of that together at first,
Right.
and there was a lot of obvious things that didn't fit exactly how it was portrayed in the source material. But going back to it, after so long and watching it all back to back, it wasn't like painfully disagreeable to me. Like, I don't know. I think maybe my mind is just switching after these recent years where I've been watching so many films and TV shows that more than I ever did in previous years of my life. I think that my brain is kind of more on this like media consumption mode where I'm giving it a little more leeway as long as it's like pleasant enough to consume the media. So rewatching it again, yeah, I didn't have any like huge holdups. That I can remember some of the things I didn't like, and I would bring it up like as I was watching, like, oh yeah, that doesn't make any sense or whatever. But I was happy that it at least led to the creation of season 2, which as far as I could tell, seems to be at least better technically speaking. I've only watched one of the episodes. I got more to watch, but so far I think it's delivering more, so I can appreciate that. But
My
yeah,
take is
it's
that season 2 is wholly superior, much better pacing, and the fact that they have, I think, more exciting bits of story to actually go through. I The pacing of season 1 with every character needing fucking 2 episodes of flashbacks about their childhood and is wasting fucking a feature length film on the Usopp arc. Like, come on now, this shit. What a waste of time. Very dull and slow and boring for most of this. Season 2, man, it's exciting and good the whole time. I don't even have any complaints really, other than I don't like the Luffy actor, but it's an impossible role to get right. So at least he looks like it.
That's right. And I will say too, because I think we had watched up to either episode 5 or 6, and there was a couple more episodes to
I didn't want to
to
spoil
conclude
you
season
on
1.
Garp, so that was on them.
Right. And it is spoiled. That's true.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy how at Arlong Park they're playing like rap music from like Tubi movies, like while they're all dancing. Because my girlfriend's like, so they're supposed to be like Rastafari, and I'm like, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I
Are the
thought they were
fishmen
maybe
supposed to be black people? Wait, what?
talking about their enslavement by humans and all that. But I enjoyed how it's consistently like you can hear like back like. I was like, Fishman Island. If they ever do a Tubi exclusive film, it would fit perfectly, and I hope to see it.
I hope they make it that far. People say, oh, it's going to take 3 years per season. It's impossible. You guys forget the fucking writer strike. That's why this shit was delayed. Okay, they're going to have probably Alabasta out by the end of next year, would be my guess. I mean, they have about 18 months to prove me correct, so I hope they get it out by then.
Right?
Anyway, back to the volume here. Some motherly love eating the food. Brothers can't feel emotions. And Sanji, we know he's a very emotional lad, so he's basically the exact opposite in every foreseeable way. And that's what makes him so amazing. Uh, Reiju helps Sanji escape. After they, what'd you think of this? They're, what are these, snail ships? Whatever their ships look like. They climb the red line to get into the East Blue, and it takes 3 full weeks to climb up and go across.
That's pretty crazy, but I think the fact that it's even possible at all is really it makes you think. It really like it's like some darkness of an unknown thing. It's like the fog is lifted a little bit for you to comprehend. Not along with the other aspects of the Vinsmoke technological superiority as well, but just to have like ships that behave that way, to know that that's possible was very interesting, very enlightening. And I guess if it's a safe and secure way to go, I guess you might as well, even if it takes a while. It's like riding a train.
Well, we don't really get to see any details other than like them starting the climb. And since Sanji himself was locked in a dungeon during that whole thing, it's not like he was looking out the window to see what was going on. So I'm curious if there were like tribes living on top of the red line. What is it like up there? Is it a crazy desert, or was it easy, smooth sailing? Like, did they have to fight anybody? All of that is skipped over, and I'm curious to see what is hiding at the top of the red line other than the Pangea Castle.
I do agree. I wish sometimes, like when we're reading through certain parts of this, I'm like, God, I just wish there was like I don't know, so just because I like my game, so it's like I wish there was like some kind of like game to the side that had you could play and it has like its own unique exploration, the same way that the movies have stories that aren't necessarily canonical. You could have maybe like Journey Up the Red Line or something as like a part of one of these One Piece games. Doesn't have to necessarily be canonical, but just because it would be nice to have like a way to flesh that out a little more and answer some questions like that. You don't have to sit there and wonder about it forever.
I mean, if Oda gets hit by a car, that's our only choice. So hopefully he elaborates on all this shit eventually.
So true.
As child Sanji's escaping, his dad catches him, and he doesn't care. He says, "Just never mention to anyone the fact that I'm your father, and be gone, never come back." It's for some reason Sanji's really heartbroken about this and cries about it. Whatever. I wouldn't want to admit you're my father either. You're fucking Hitler, dude. I wasn't gonna exactly be bragging.
Well, I mean, if you wake up, you're already Hitler Jr. I mean, what you gotta work with that. You could be like, there was a couple guys like that who, in our reality, went and did like media tours. Like, don't worry, I'm not married. I don't have any kids. I'm not doing more Hitler. Don't worry about it. Figure it out, dude. I'm good. We're good. We're good.
Like his third cousin had to have his cock cut off so he couldn't reproduce. Chemical castration of anybody related to him, or was that just like their own choice?
I think it was just like a choice. Like he was just like some quiet, like standard autistic German that like wanted to just like play with trains all day and like play with toys all day or whatever and like build things in his workshop. So like the newspapers came in like, "Oh, Mr. Hitler the Third, you doing any more of that Hitler stuff?" No, 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 not me. No, I think it is horrible. I never would do that. No.
The fact that even he thinks his bloodline needs to end is very sad. I mean, that sounds like a One Piece story in the making. Like, can we judge him by the sins of his distant cousin and make him never continue the bloodline?
Yeah, he ends up taking a snail ship to Antarctica and reconnecting with some lost relatives. It is what it is.
Goes to Wano and see what's going on up in there. Flashback ends and we find out that Luffy has been fighting Cracker for 11 hours straight, just all night. And Eggy, did you even realize you made a correct prediction?
Well, no, I don't think so, because the prediction I recalled was that somehow like all the biscuit dust was going to get burned up, and I don't know what I was thinking. Seems like the most obvious thing to happen here. That of course, if it's biscuit dust, you could just. I mean, I've eaten the bottom of so many chicken and a biscuit boxes in my life probably in the top 5% of humanity, so I should know anybody. But yeah, Luffy is eating the biscuit dust that's being used to create all the replicas, his
He's
armor.
eating all of the soldiers that Nami is using her weather powers to soften with rain. And Eggy, you did predict that Nami would use weather powers to assist Luffy in the fight. So I think that counts as an Eggy W.
Will take every W I can. And the only lament that I have is that this isn't real, so I can't just inhale delicious biscuit soldiers in real life to my heart's extent and heart's content.
Well, Luffy, I mean, he's been eating them for 11 hours straight, and it becomes a battle of Cracker's stamina and just like clapping his hand to make a new one versus Luffy having to eat an entire fucking soldier again and again and again. And yet Luffy's gluttony is so tremendous that 11 hours in, it's still anybody's fucking guess who will win this war of, attrition, contrition? I don't even know what kind of war this is. It's
The War of Delition, because it's
yeah, war of delition.
dank soldier combo.
And there was a like a Nikado avocado panel where like Luffy is like weeping and stuffing food into his mouth that he doesn't want to keep eating, and he's like, I have to keep doing this. I'm doing it for Sanji. And if Nikado wasn't influenced by that, I don't know what else would make him weep while force feeding and crying about his gay lover.
That's true. And, Mikado, I don't think he's Brazilian, but one of his husbands was. So, he's got
Luffy
he's
pill.
got some Luffy pilled ideology in his life there
You could say
somewhere, for sure.
at some point in his life, he's had a little Brazilian in him.
Well, somebody paid for the materials to confirm that at some point, probably, and thankfully it wasn't me. All I can say is title on the log.
To my feed. Were you disappointed that Oda kind of skipped these 11 hours? And do you imagine that the anime has about 8 episodes of filler to show Luffy eating all these fucking soldiers?
I could see the anime stretching it out for sure, 100%. As far as disappointed that it wasn't in the manga, not at all. No. We got right to what mattered.
Sure, that is fair. But if Luffy is doing the longest fight in history against the highest bounty he's ever fought against, I mean, I would have liked to see the struggle a little bit more. We do just skip him like all fatted up, and then they kind of explain to us the strategy that's been going down the last 11 hours. It's fine. I don't dislike it, but I just want to see more Luffy struggle. So maybe we'll get a better Luffy fight later in the arc, or hopefully against Kaido or something.
Yeah, it's kind of like the old Final Fantasy 11 bosses back in the day where the raids would go on for hours straight. It's like you're seeing a lot of high-level teamwork and gameplay there if you watch the entire 6-hour long fight. Or you could just watch, like the climax of it and get the idea of what had been going on. You understand, you could watch, because otherwise you're seeing basically a lot of repetition.
Did you like Luffy's the way he wins? I guess he sucks him into his big fat gut and then shoots him like a cannonball.
Yeah, really a smart use of Gear 4 for sure, because, he usually has to blow himself up and inflate himself, and to be able to, utilize all of this material to get himself at the absolute maximum elasticity that he could possibly bear to handle, and then go solid. I mean, that was truly a genius move. Some of the best tactician work I might have seen from Luffy even. I mean, maybe it's not all that, but I mean, he sat there and he burdened himself to reach the amount of power that he was able to get, the amount of force and momentum that he would have to draw from in order to conduct this attack. So, had he not needed as much, he might have only had to go for a few hours at most, but he took that time, he built that mass, and he used it to his advantage, and I respect that. I salute it. Powerful moment.
Speaking of powerful moments, this volume is chock full of them, and lots of dialogue that I wrote down as well, so I'm sure we'll get to a lot of these great quotes, but did you have a reaction to seeing a chapter title? I guess E-Rich doesn't even remember this happened, but the chapter title that says Luffy versus Sanji. Were you expecting that? Because I've been teasing you the last 2 volumes asking, Eggy, how many more volumes until Luffy and Sanji reunite? And you're like, I don't know, probably like 5 or 6. And when I know damn well it's going to be halfway through the very next volume. Were you shocked? Like, what's the reaction to seeing, not only are they reuniting, but they're going to fight?
Well, I'm thinking, that course, he's gonna see Sanji, and because I mean, I saw it. I try not to read the chapter titles on the cover page, but it did catch my eye. It is what it is. It wasn't
Uh-huh.
necessarily intentional, but I'm thinking that it's gonna be
Did that
something
hype
like,
you up? You're like, oh fuck, I gotta see
well,
what this is all about.
I was thinking it's gonna be like, oh, Sanji, come on, don't you want you don't have to get married. We'll go. And oh no, it's listen, I know Luffy, but this is my new world now. This is my new life now. I wouldn't have expected
A
such
battle
words
of like
as
vocal, yeah.
"Get lost, you miserable inferior pirates."
Which in the very previous volume, that's what Cracker told Luffy. That's what Sanji will say to you, and that's like Luffy gets so angry at that suggestion that Sanji would say something like that that he breaks through the first Cracker general soldier. But then, yeah, that's exactly what Sanji had to say. And
Yeah, so that
there's
was
a oh, go ahead.
well, I just once I was like, oh shit. I mean, even before at the end before that particular chapter, because this is going on 843 where he links up and he does attack Luffy and he
He
says get
kicks him
away.
off the
I,
carriage,
I'm
off
thinking,
the Nazi
well,
wagon.
yeah, right. uh it's like I did not expect him to really go to the lengths that he ends up going, as far as, but it's like, because in my mind I'm like, oh, okay, well, I know I guess he's made his mind up and he needs to let Luffy know that he's cutting those ties, he's severing that relationship. And Luffy is somebody who's not going to listen to that exactly, so he like is going to need to, make a strong case. But like, damn, he's like, especially with as we were just watching that bonus episode, that movie 5 that we were talking about, and how uncharacteristic some things in that film are. To see Sanji just be like so fucking cold, and just ready to just beat Luffy to a bloody pulp, and just not even bother. Of course, obviously, we see shortly after the combat that he's in tremendous, excruciating pain. But I mean, as fair as that is, you did just beat Luffy to a bloody pulp. Still, okay, like I mean,
He knocked a tooth out of his head.
you could have cried in
Luffy's
the carriage.
Blackbeard mode now.
You could have kicked him the one time, got the distance, and then sat there and cried in the carriage about the situation. You didn't necessarily need to, as he's like not. He's refusing to even throw any punch back at all. Just beat it like you're fucking like your flaming heel, like crushing into like the top of his head. His eyes are rolling back. He's like blood spraying everywhere. I mean, you could have started crying without doing that too. I'm just saying.
Luffy was
I was
asking
like,
for
God
it.
damn.
Luffy saw it as a duel, and this is the parallel I wanted to make a second ago. Not only the parallel from last volume of the repeated dialogue, but Sanji was dueling against Judge, his dad, and Judge had people on the outside interfere with the duel unfairly. Here we have Luffy dueling Sanji. Nami tries to make it stop, and Luffy yells, "Shut up! Nami, don't interfere in the duel!" The exact opposite of Judge here. And it's a duel where, yeah, like you're saying, he's not even fighting back, but he still counts it as a duel. He needs Sanji to prove he really means it.
Yeah, and to kind of sit and digest it a bit. Like I said, even just the intent was clear to me. Like that he needs to make this distinction. But yeah, Luffy, the sort of honorable way that he conducts himself, and just the contrast, as you mentioned, to the cruelty of the Vinsmoke family, Sanji aside, you could just it goes to show in what that he's ingratiated himself into the Straw Hat crew for all this time and found such common ground and common goals and common dreams to work towards. Meanwhile, just the absolute coldness of his own family to go back into the carriage after the fight and just have such an emotional reaction. All the flashbacks of what he went through, his time with first meeting Luffy and joining the crew and all that, and just how emotional it is. None of the other members of his family would ever feel emotion like that. They're completely psychotic psychopaths. So it just we see a lot of these different contrasts and the parallels, like you said, where Sanji just is not. Even if it's his family, his people, they're not really his people, to be honest.
When Nami slaps Sanji after he gives her that cold hard glare instead of the usual hard eyes or whatever, Sanji's brothers have some dialogue that I swear is straight from Beavis and Butthead. They say, "Whoa, that chick was brutal, awesome." That's I think they've said that word for word on that show. So yeah, if your brothers are literally Beavis and Butthead with superpowers, I guess like Power Rangers, I guess, because they're all different colors. Uh, yeah, poor Sanji here, as Luffy states, the emotional genius here, Luffy. What is that called? Emotional intelligence? Yeah, that's Luffy's whole thing. He knows that
That's
the
right.
kicks were hurting Sanji more. Just like that, when my dad would beat me as a child, he'd always give me that bullshit line, "Oh, this hurts me more than it hurts you." No, it don't. You know you enjoyed it. I was being bad, and it felt good to hit me. Come on now. You know what they say? Hit your
Yeah.
son every day, and if you don't know why, he does.
Good. I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna keep that in mind. You know,
For when you become
no
a father.
snowflake free household. Call me Judge Egg Smoke. You know what I'm saying? So I might smoke and I
Yes.
might judge you.
But as I pointed out last episode, Judge has the opposite mustache of Hitler. So is all this Nazi iconography actually just a mistake or ironic? Because Judge is the opposite of Hitler.
Mm, I guess I might judge him by his fruits. I think that's what the Bible says. And his
Uh,
fruits are growing people in a lab so that he can shove a blade through their back and kill them instantly for his own benefit. Like to commit one single attack to completely just execute a living human being that's a fully grown person, even if they are a clone, just to enhance one single blade strike. It seems a little bit, perhaps, mm, inconsiderate of life and maybe
hmm.
uncaring and unfeeling, maybe just a little bit. So I'm sure that, maybe he's a communist. They say communists did all that stuff too, and they were the opposite of Hitler, right? So
Okay. Yeah, when I interview
he's
Oda, actually, Oda is gonna be on a podcast with
what?
Inaki, the kid who plays
Oh, oh,
Luffy.
yeah, it's yeah. Netflix said that the
Yeah,
13th,
yeah,
right?
I think it's coming out tomorrow. Yeah, I'm excited
Oh,
because I've never really heard Oda give a conversation more than one sentence, so this will be pretty keynote. I forgot to mention, but this Luffy versus Sanji chapter, and then like the chapter right after it, they might be my most reread chapters in all of One Piece because I will occasionally just remember that and want to grab it off my bookshelf and read it again. The brutal beatdown, the emotions of it, and then I think it's very epic in every sense of the word. This scene where Luffy refuses to leave the spot and he says, "Nope, I'm not leaving. Sanji has to come back. I told him I'm going to be waiting right here. I'm not moving 1 inch." And the scene of Big Mom's entire army, all of her superpowered children, all of the chess pieces, soldiers, just fucking marching in the sticky syrup rain towards Luffy, standing his ground. Like, there's no way he can win. And as a listener or viewer, I mean, or I guess a watcher, I was doing the anime my first time through. It's just like, oh my god, Luffy is so fucked. There's nothing he could do. How could he possibly get out of this? Oh, they just want to arrest him and take him prisoner. Oh, of
I do want
course.
to say I feel like where we are at currently, though, is probably the most I have felt that way, like the most, because we have had a lot of conflicts and a lot of fights with a lot of people, like even back to Dressrosa. Okay, there's a tournament, somebody's gonna win, and then they got like it felt like there was some sort of a linear progression to an extent to where we could kind of feel out where that was going to be headed towards, what the future was going to be, what the resolution was going to be. I'm blind on it now, honestly. Like the strength of the opposition is so absolutely massive. It is so significant compared to where we are at with the Straw Hats. I mean, I'm sure the tactics come into play more like with Mr. Biscuit, with Mr. Cracker rather. But just everything considered, the state that we're in right now, that we're really on our back foot. We have the scenes with Brooke and Pedro that I'm sure we'll get into, where that's also kind of exemplified. I don't think I've ever been feeling so uncertain as I have with what I was reading in this volume, and to speak to that with the encroaching army of everybody and just the sheer overwhelming numbers and volume.
Yeah, even if Luffy and Nami somehow get out of this book prison, what is to be done if this whole army is just surrounding them? How are we ever getting out of this situation?
Uh, Ooh, it'd be cool. Maybe if I don't know, utilizing the book aspect, maybe they're like running into like a fairy tale land and like getting out like in a different chapter or something that has more accessible escape potential or something like that. But I think probably whatever Pudding has going on here in the near future might possibly be more of a catalyst than that.
Pudding commits suicide, and Big Mom's gonna blame it on Straw Hat Luffy. Oh, the last person to talk to my beloved daughter was you. Get him out of that book prison. We're gonna do a Amazon Lily style Coliseum duel. And I'm gonna fucking kill you right here now, Straw Hat. But wait, what's in this tomate box? Blows. You remember
Okay.
there's a bomb inside that
Yep.
tomate box, Eggy. She even brings it up when she talks to Luffy on the snail phone here.
How excited she is to open it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that's very true. And I guess has I think before we were back in Fishman Island, we're saying, oh well, it's been sitting for however many years or decades or centuries, and it's probably just going to be kaput and fizzle out. Maybe that is not so much the case. Maybe it's going to end up playing a more significant role. But there are
If I
those
recall,
variables.
I might have this off. If I recall, the pills that Hody and his men were eating were the prize that were in the tomate box from centuries ago. And
Yep.
then very recently, one of the king's men like booby trapped it with a bomb. Right.
Okay, right, okay. Yeah,
I
that makes sense.
think I might be a little off, but I think that's the general idea. And then they accidentally gifted that to Big Mom when Luffy ate all of her treats.
Yeah,
Some
that could, it could be these little things that give those sort of first strikes to the element of surprise, knock people off their balance, maybe get some sort of, if there's a big explosion that creates a difficulty in traveling inside of the castle, maybe there'll be like or inside of wherever they're at. Yeah, whatever it's going to take place in the cathedral. Maybe that could keep some of the powerful associates, the children, out of the mix for a more even fight. So there might be some things, perhaps. Um, the blueprint, the ground floor, the foundation is kind of there. It's just kind of which angle is going to be used. I couldn't tell you right now. They're there, but I'm a little bit uncertain myself.
And even if you can escape danger, you can't change Sanji's heart on a dime. He seems pretty intent on going through with his proposal here with his beloved. So, like, even if you get out of this, how do you get Sanji to come with you? I mean, I guess if Pudding kills herself, maybe he doesn't have much to stay for. But Sanji's negotiating with Big Mom. Hey, let my old pirate crew go safe, and I'll do whatever you want. And Big Mom's down to clown. Do you still think she's completely down to clown even after that phone call with Luffy?
Um, I I feel like yes, I do feel like yeah, because I feel like there's enough there's enough kind of structure put out here that there's been enough planning and enough forethought into it for it to still have the certainly there's a potential possibility for it to come together yet.
Tell me about the Pedro and Brooke stuff that was percolating your interest here.
Well, as we talked about in the last volume, Pedro, unfortunately, they already were known about him from before, kind of had his cover blown a little bit, but all the same, they need to get to these poneglyphs. They talk as much that there's a certain amount of basically kind of irrelevant poneglyphs. You need the ones that actually have the real information. Those are the ones that you need to get to find your way to Raftel, to find the King of the Pirates treasure. But yeah, they're up inside. They got Charlotte Smoothie, who is quite an impressive looking woman, I must say. I mean, this is shout out to Lola and shout out to even Pudding, but Smoothie. I like a woman that's large and in charge. You know what I'm saying? So might be my favorite Big Mom daughter that I've
Wow,
seen
even
so
above
far.
Pudding. You like the big
I,
women,
I'm seeing them
really
legs,
big.
them thigh. You know, what I'm
This
saying,
bitch
I
is
don't
like
know.
22 feet tall.
I don't know if there's something I've seen this. I seen the way she's sitting there and the way that it was drawn, and I was like, oh, wait a second. I think
Yeah.
But so in the chateau, we have such excruciatingly powerful people like Baron Tamago. I think was up there too with her, and but the idea is they have to go and make their play while they can because there's never any other time that they would be so close. Whether they have their full amount of their people there or not, they kind of just have to take the risk. And since they're already knowing Pedro, he says, I'll go ahead and I'll be the decoy here. And honestly, I guess I don't know if I'd seen his combat skills before, but I was pretty impressed by how he was able to lay down the smack down there with his abilities.
And he was like running on walls and shit, right? He
Hmm.
fast
It's a very epic
Jaguar.
style, like very stylistic. They're like, oh, whoa, he's fast. Whoa,
Mhm.
he's outrunning bullets, dropping bombs. I mean, just everything that's you know, he's really playing his role just as good as he possibly can considering the circumstances. And Brooke looking like a total badass, rocking out, taking people's souls
Yeah,
with his guitar.
did we know before that Big Mom's devil fruit is the soul fruit?
Yeah, I think we when she took the soul out of her son that was trying to stop her rampage
Okay. So,
previously.
and as Brooke, as a resurrection man who could have his soul come out and do things, he kind of has a natural ability. Like through his music, he can play to the soul, and he's like countering Big Mom's ability directly. He's kind of like the Inaru and Luffy to Big Mom.
Yes. So they ended up
But
being a really good duel because Pedro with his mink abilities, he's got that natural agility. He's got the combat experience, so he's doing this great diversion, applying a lot of pressure to everybody that he's coming into contact with. And then Brooke is utilizing his abilities to kind of really, once the stage is set, no pun intended, really be able to utilize his abilities to the maximum extent. So for how people are being handling with things, Luffy and Nami, the biscuits, it worked out okay, but it was still kind of a dicey situation. Carrot, Chopper, they're having some problems,
yeah, they're
but
getting eaten by a witch. But I was gonna ask,
so
so we have this concept of the sweet four generals. One of them was defeated by Arouge, and now Cracker has been defeated by Luffy. And the other two are Smoothie and somebody named Kata Curry, who we have not met yet. If Smoothie is guarding this poneglyph and she's as strong as Cracker, what the fuck is Brooke supposed to do?
uh, get rid of all these additional soldiers and associates, and maybe between him and Pedro, I don't know if Pedro's gonna come back, if he's just kind of leading everybody on that chase. Hmm.
I mean,
Uh,
even with Pedro, this is Luffy fought Cracker for 11 hours. How are we beating Smoothie in any amount of time?
okay, so he's got his rock and roll abilities. Okay, speaks to the soul, right? As we mentioned. She's got those long legs and everything there. I mean, you look at her, you think to yourself, definitely could be a professional dancer. Maybe he could use like some musical hypnotism, perhaps. Like he starts jamming out or whatever. She starts having this inconsolable need to dance.
That
Uh,
was
you
one of
know,
the few things from the manga that I did not expect to be adapted into the Netflix live action. But like, there's one scene where Vivi uses like a hypnotic dance in the manga, and then never does anything like that again. And they actually do it in the Netflix, and it was, I mean, it was bad, but I thought it was funny that they did it. I don't believe that would work on Luffy though. Anyway,
Hmm.
uh, is that about it for this volume, Eggy? Have we covered all the major shit? Brooke is fucked. Luffy and Nami are fucked. Jinbei ran off like a coward. Sanji is fucking fiance's probably about to kill herself or run away and then get killed by her own mother.
Well, I guess all I can hope for is that in the same way that defeating Moria had that soul returning capability to bring everybody back to life from their zombie form. Maybe if something happens here, maybe people are dying or they're screwed or are suffering horribly and terribly under the circumstances. Maybe the Big Mom's soul fruit will have some sort of similar rejuvenating and regenerating ability for the people who suffer that way. Because yeah, it's like I said, it's a little more uncertain.
It's the highest stakes I've felt for the characters in a long time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And it's very refreshing to have an arc that is actually focused on our main characters and not like a random princess of this kingdom that we're in. Like Sanji is like the princess of this arc. It's so nice to have the main characters actually be growing and changing and interacting with each other. I wish every arc was like this arc.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you definitely feel the skin in the game. It's not just, oh, I'm over in this island and it's, oh, I'm over in this new place and we got to do this for this person. Yeah, this is the days of our lives. Okay, this is the nitty gritty. This is every bit of my future, every bit of the future of all of us, all hanging in the balance here, and the balance is fucking swinging back and forth like a goddamn earthquake. It's out of control.
I got a couple notes on this little tea party that the Vinsmokes have with Big Mom and Pudding. Do you agree with Big Mom's line, everyone's got 100 or 200 people they want to kill?
I did intend to screenshot that, but then I wasn't sure. I was like, it's a lot more than that, so maybe I don't need to,
Yeah,
people understand
thousands and millions. If I had a death note, I'd have to request a second book by the next day. And then
learn how to write real small.
Even the food is alive and singing and dancing and it's saying, eat us, eat us. And one of the Sanji brothers says, this is the most talkative meal I've ever had. I thought that was a brilliant joke. And then while they're eating it, like the food is screaming in horror, like, am I good? Am I good? It's like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah, it's hilarious, and honestly, that was disturbing. So I'm just like, if my food could talk to me while I'm eating it, maybe that's what I need to do to lose weight. I need to figure out how to at least start hallucinating that it's talking to me. Maybe it'll, I'll be like a vegan except for everything. I can't eat the animals because they're hurt. I can't eat the donuts or the drink combos or anything else. Maybe that's the magic. I'm pretty delusional as it is, but I don't know, that's even a step too far that I can't quite cross that bridge yet. Well, but maybe one day.
For lunch, my GF was chopping up a bell pepper, and then there was like a baby bell pepper inside of it, and she was freaking out. I don't know anything about peppers, so I guess this is a rare thing that's not meant to happen. She Googled it, and it said it only happens when the peppers are especially stressed. They'll grow like a baby inside of it. And I'm thinking, how the fuck does a pepper have an opinion? How does a pepper get stressed? Like, are the vegans wrong? Is everything alive in thinking? Should I not be eating at all?
Well, the vegans are wrong in that regard. Yes, they just consider animals to be like more deserving of our sympathy and our empathy than plants.
Than bell peppers.
Plants, they completely react to many different things like that as well. So.
Well, I guess my girlfriend ate a stressed out bell pepper's fetus today. I imagine it was delicious, like some
like veal.
Well, yeah, like veal or like adrenochrome sort of thing. Like, oh, we had to stress this thing out to make it more delicious to us.
Adrenochrome pepper.
Yeah, like that's legitimately what happened, right? I think that's what happened. Do you want to plug anything this week, Eggy?
Yes, we're still zeeting, road to 3,300 zeeters. I might be there now if I go look at it. I haven't looked at it for a few hours, but x.com/2eggwhite. And if you don't want to do X account, at least go type that in and find my link tree in the bio. It's got everything else in there. We're almost Kick partners. Everybody on Kick, they've been saying that you should give it a try.
Just like the commenters are saying that?
The Kick partnership, they're like, yeah, you got to, you get that partner. They think you definitely would get there and reach it, and then they say, yeah, you can. They say it's easy money. I'm not there yet, but I mean, so far the site's been good to me regardless. They say that it's the move, and that they would like to see you there. I think I told you as much. This is not really relevant to this show, but one such viewer donated about $250 to me last night for us to make a new wheel video here in the near future.
That's right.
So they're looking for you. They're waiting. They're trying to see when you're going live, and they're interested. They want to see some
I don't think
gaming
I've been
content.
live since October, which evidently is when Digibro was arrested for a domestic assault against a family member, and now Kiwi Farms is reporting it like it happened 2 days ago. No, the very photo you posted says it was October, guys. Why are we reporting this now?
Mm.
But interesting.
Well, so I guess my presidential opponent yet remains. I thought this was going to be the secret tactic I needed to guarantee my own victory in the 2028 presidential election, but we continue on.
Yeah, you guys both need an arrest record to run for president. I think that's a requirement now.
If you don't have mugshot merch, you know what I'm saying, it's basically over for you. There's no way. You can't do it.
Eggy, did you think about this? Next episode is volume 85. Heartsy requested it specifically. The fact that he requested 85 over 84 that featured all this Supreme Kino, does that imply that the next volume might be even better than this one?
Well, it certainly is ramping up, and for that reason, I think I am expecting some big things. I mean, the fight between Sanji and Luffy and the backstory was emotionally impactful. The army surging them in the syrup rain, the reveal of the clones, and I mean this one was really packed. But I feel like we're still bubbling here because we're caught up in all these in this turmoil that we're still kind of. I'm waiting for like a real peak to start forming here amongst all this. Like the heat is being turned up. We're boiling over. I'm waiting for just like a real clear, like a just boom, I feel it cooking. And so I think that's probably why 85 might have something to it that's special compared to anything else. But
I will say, the material in volume 85 made both Heartsy and me cry for sure. So I'm curious to see how Eggy will emotionally take the information.
Well, I thought that the flashback was impactful, but I better,
Sometimes things that
tighten
happen
up
in
here.
real time are way more sad than what happened in the past.
That's very fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
can't, not enough time to sit and separate yourself from the pain. It's raw. It's in your face. It might be
Yeah.
on your face. It might be through your body. Anything could happen.
So everybody stay tuned for the epic volume 85 featuring Heartsy Protsy. I know you've all been waiting for him to come back. It's happening, folks.
That's right.
One Piece, people.